Finally time for the main event of the evening. UFC London, Tom Aspinall taking on Marcin Tybura. And when you look at a fight like this, I mean, for Aspinall, still ranked in the top 5. He's been away for a time or two. His last time out against Curtis Blaydes. A 1-2 from Blaydes, a back step from Aspinall. The knee, it blew out. Torn MCL, torn meniscus, and a damaged ACL on the UFC.com profile. And Aspinall builds himself back up. Training with Mick Parkin, who's on this card. Training with the champ, Phil DeFries. The man is getting it done with KSW. And now taking on Marcin Tybura, a guy with 5-round experience as an M1 Global Heavyweight champ, but also 5-round experience in the UFC and a primarily kickboxing match against former champ Fabricio Verdum in 2017. Tybura on the losing end of that, 50-45, 50-45, 49-46. But for Tybura, he's beaten some of these heavyweights in the past. We saw him beat Greg Hardy recently. We saw him get wins in spots where people didn't think Tybura was going to get wins. We also saw Tybura lose in spots where you didn't maybe think Tybura was going to
And that's always been the difficult thing about Marcin Tybura. He did get a pretty heavy push at one point. You bring up the main event he was able to have against Fabricio Verdum. That was a huge fight. And to Tybura's credit, we bring this up quite a bit. He is one of the few 5-round heavyweights, I would say. I don't think he's going to fight like some
Even though you've only seen it once in the UFC.
Exactly. But even in that 5th round, he landed a pretty clean head kick against Fabricio Verdum. I feel the need to bring up this 1 second of MMA that nobody ever is going to remember. Because at least it shows that, A, how many heavyweights do we see throw head kicks? Basically none. And the fact that Tybura was able to do that in the 5th round, a very grueling fight where he's receiving a lot of takedown attempts and defending quite a lot of them, to be fair, I do think it shows the resolve that a Marcin Tybura does have. But the thing I go back to, and I brought this up quite a bit as his career has progressed, he has become a lot more of that wrestler, grappler type of a fighter than that kickboxer from distance. Not saying he doesn't have those skills in his repertoire, but at 37, I just think Marcin Tybura really realizes where his bread gets buttered, and that does have to do with the grappling and with his forward pressure. This is the last thing I'm going to say before I keep on pumping Marcin Tybura's tires. He's a lot slower than Tom Aspinall, Craig. Like a lot slower than Tom Aspinall. And that's what I have trouble with, because if Tybura's not able to close that distance and just get rid of all the oxygen, make speed not a factor in this fight, maybe he can get Tom Aspinall down to the map. But something you brought up a lot in the past, and I 100% echo it. Tom Aspinall's really good at grappling. We just don't see it a lot because his boxing has reached such a level. I know with the Andre Arlovski fight, he was able to hurt him on the feet and then submit him. But for Aspinall, you do get carried away with how talented his boxing is. Kind of forget that he does have a ground game to go along with it.
I mean, listen, MMA math is what it is. Tybura looked just lifeless against Alexander Volkov, whereas Tom Aspinall knock him out, drag him out, submit Volkov in the 1st round. Performance bonuses against Collier, Arlovski, Spivak, and Volkov. And Tom Aspinall, that win over Spivak is going to age really well. The other thing about Spivak is it's kind of like Tybura light. Tybura's been, again, walk to run. Spivak fights the same way. But if you go back and watch that fight, it's not a fair comparison because from the jump, Spivak just doesn't look like himself, and Aspinall's walking him down, and then it's over, and it's done really quickly. So it is a credit to Aspinall, but Spivak didn't just really look like he was on his game that night. But if you look through it, for Aspinall, British Junior National Wrestling champ, he had that amateur boxing experience. He was able to really get it done, a feature of the Tyson Fury camp to get ready for boxing. So maybe you'll see Aspinall getting Fury ready for Francis Ngannou.
I don't know if you ever watched this. BT Sports did this whole entire program where they had John Fury, Tyson Fury's dad, just driving around a double-decker bus, and they were just talking about Tyson Fury fights. Tom Aspinall and Molly McCann both made an appearance on that, and John Fury could not say enough great things about Tom Aspinall, not only as a person, but as a training partner for his son, Tyson Fury.
Well, you'd rather John Fury saying good things about you, because when he's saying bad things
he's a terrifying large man.
They're all over the internet. But when you look at Aspinall, again, he took a really long layoff in his pro career to teach BJJ at his dad's school, and if you see that, I have it as Aspinall. BJJ is the gym for this one, but Aspinall with Parkin, that big body that's going to work a lot of the takedowns, and the same thing from Phil DeFries. Both guys from Sunderland fight just like that. So cool to see that for Aspinall, but you know how good the boxing can be. And against a guy like Tybura, you're going to get a lot more kicks out of Tybura. You're going to get a lot more to the body, to the head, and Tybura can wear out the best heavyweights that are out there. So if you look at Tybura, the 5-on-in, it's 4-1 just like Aspinall. The win over Hardy, the win over Walt Harris. He beat Romanov by majority decision, got 10-8 in the 1st round. Round 2, round 3, rallied right back. And Tybura's last time out against Blagoy Ivanov, it was as if somebody took a nice timepiece and they just tried to wind it with their finger and went really slow. Because for Tybura's last time out against Ivanov, they fought at a snail's pace, and it happened to be Marcin Tybura came out with a win.
I gotta be honest, and feel free to disagree with me. I feel like Tom Aspinall, if all things are equal and the knee's not a big problem, just stylistically, in the top 15 is one of the more difficult matchups for a guy like Marcin Tybura. And I bring up the speed for a reason. Tybur is not a guy who's going to close that distance all that effectively. We brought it up about Yanal Ashmouz earlier on in the card about how, okay, we were kind of down on him making his debut, but the way he's able to close that distance really is able to help him show his strengths more than his weaknesses. For Tybura on the outside, I worry about when he closes the distance. If he's not able to get the respect from the kicking range, I don't think he can box the Tom Aspinall, if you want my honest opinion. I think the speed's really going to be an issue for him. So if he can't get it to the mat, which we all know Tom Aspinall's not some zero on the ground, and if he can't implement the kicks, I think it's going to be a difficult fight for Tybura.
And I mean, for Aspinall, you've seen really good fighters come back off of knee injuries. You've seen really good fighters' careers derailed by knee injuries. Kevin Lee is the
To be fair, though, Aspinall is only 30 years old and doesn't have a lot of miles on the odometer, so hopefully he can come back and all is equal. But you're right, it's a point that you have to bring up because it has been a very major injury. But luckily, like you said, it's not like he had to get his ACL reconstructed or anything.
Well, it tore his ACL.
No, he said it was minor ACL. It was tore his meniscus.
Tore his MCL, tore his meniscus.
Yeah, so ACL's the thing I worry about a lot more than the MCL or the meniscus.
All right, Matt. Well, we threw this one out there to the fans at Fight Night Picks in the community tab. 1,000 have voted. 91% Aspinall. AK Man KA saying Aspinall is so talented, probably my favorite heavyweight. I think he finishes Tybura by KO within the first 3 rounds. Austin saying hopefully Tom hasn't lost a step and continues winning in dominant fashion. We also have Ryan saying Aspinall will turn Tybura into I don't kill Bassa. And then we've got Crazy Pato saying Tybura beating Aspinall would be the upset of the year, IMO. To which I responded, there's...
But I'll say,
odds, you don't have to yell.
You can't just look at the odds, though, and say that's the biggest upset of the year.
Alexa Grasso beating Valentina Shevchenko is
That's a big upset, don't get me wrong. But this would be a massive upset if it happened. Like, if Marcin Tybura is able to go to Tom Aspinall's home country in his hometown and beat him, that's a pretty big deal. Like, people don't often do that in MMA. So for Aspinall, the one thing I will say, too, is Aspinall seems to genuinely have like a home crowd advantage. Not that it's some big deal or anything, but the UK fans get behind their fighters like few other regions do, which is always a lot of fun to watch. Like, I love these UK events for that reason. The fans get into it, and it does make it feel like that much bigger of an event. I'm so sick and tired of the Apex. We haven't really talked about this, but when they do go to these bigger avenues, or to these bigger venues, and you see the fans really do pull for the fighters that are from those areas, it makes it feel that much better.
They've been a little flat the last few, 286 in the fight.
But remember when Aspinall fought Curtis Blades? Like, I know it ended within a minute and he hurt his knee, but like the pop that they were getting from the crowd over there was absolutely incredible.
Well, I do have Tom Aspinall in the matchup. That's probably not a surprise to many people. Mega load that one. But if you do look at it for Aspinall, the boxing speed, the hand speed, and the jiu-jitsu, that's why I have him. Now, for Tybura, you talk about bigger bodies in the gym to get ready for this one. Obviously, Carlos Ramola is going to be one of them. But Makhmud Muradov, to get ready for the boxing of a guy like Aspinall, that's the perfect guy to Vancos, and he's got that built into that camp. So for me, it is Aspinall, but it should be a really fun fight.
I've also got Aspinall in this fight, but my curiosity really comes down to who do they match him up with next? Because for Curtis Blades, that man wants a title shot so bad, I couldn't imagine him fighting Aspinall again. But heavyweight is starting to encounter a bit of a logjam, right? You've got John Jones in the picture, who's a really big name, so a lot of fighters who probably have more popularity than a great resume are going to get those opportunities. Sergey Pavlovich, of course, has looked absolutely phenomenal as of late.
Yeah.
So yeah, for a lot of these fighters at heavyweight, it does feel like, okay, I'm kind of one fight away. So for Aspinall, he's a huge opportunity this week.
Big opportunity for both these guys. Some notes from the editor, Matt. We checked it after the fact. That Megaloads expired on the 15th of January, 2022.
I feel fine.
And we ate them.
Until later, maybe.
Eating those Megaloads. Matt, some big time fights on this card. 15 total. If anything changes throughout the week, I'm away. But I'll bring my stuff, and I'm sure I can be a little flexible depending on my wife on vacation. So we'll see how the vacation plays out that way. You've got some travel plans.
Yeah,
in the next
I'm in Europe the week after that. I'm going to go check out. It's kind of wild. We didn't plan this at all, but London, they're fighting in London. Then I'm there the next week. So.
Yeah, and we'll figure out a way to get things done during the time. So we'll figure out a way to get that done because, I mean, you got Sandhagen coming up. That's a big time main event that he has on his plate. And then the big pay-per-views are soon to follow. The BMF belt's on the line. Matt, I want the folks to just let us know what you think of the video. Toss a like out there. Make sure you comment with who you have in the margins. Question mark kicks this Saturday at some point on Saturday. Time, it varies, so that's a TBD, but a lot of big time things to look forward to. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, we always say.
Let's get into it.